I found out that the fallen church has not understood the joy, the satisfaction of serving the Lord holy and righteous. Because when a patient turned negative with a particular physician, the primary provider, I then decided to ask them to take the patient across the hospitals in that region,
the other issues,
even in the country.
The issues of healing.
Yes.
And more specifically, HIV and AIDS. Do you say that you have people that are being healed of HIV and AIDS?
I remember one day, the way the whole thing started, a woman was crying next to the altar when a cripple had walked. And she kept saying, "Man of God, have mercy on me." To a point that I had to stop, taking this beautiful testimony, tremendous testimony. A cripple has stood up and walked. It was tremendous. The whole stadium was wild. I had to turn to this woman because she was becoming a noise, you see. And so I asked her, "My daughter, how should I pray for you now?" And she said, "I am HIV positive. If the Lord wills, please, let me be healed." And I remember that instant I asked, "How many are HIV positive in this stadium?" And I saw quite a sizable population in the stadium lift up their hands. And that's how I began to pray against HIV AIDS for their healing. And so when I prayed and I used my prophetic tongue to curse the virus, and I told them, "Now you can go back to your physicians. Go back to the doctor that knows you, the one that has your files. Let him examine your blood. Tell him you're from the meeting of the Lord." That's how the whole thing started. And when they were healed, so you see, the whole ministry is about restoration. So even the healing services, they must bespeak, they must project restoration into the church, changing of practice. And so when the doctors first examined, the first doctors that really encountered the healings of HIV/AIDS, they were startled. But of course, over time, they were able to engage with me, because I found out also that when somebody turns negative, a patient, from that point on, medication has to be stopped. From that point on, you cannot continue medication. That becomes abuse. That becomes malpractice from that point on. So that was I found out. And then that's when the doctors began to actually come and engage with me. But it was so beautiful because I found out that the fallen church has not understood the joy, the satisfaction of serving the Lord holy and righteous. Because when a patient turned negative with a particular physician, the primary provider, I then decided to ask them to take the patient across the hospitals in that region, even in the country. And then the miracle became bigger. Can you imagine? Now the doctors from this side, I remember one blood sample was even sent to South Africa. They even said, "No, probably there's something wrong with our kits." In fact, to the extent that at one point, even today, they now incorporated in the Q&A officers, the QA officers in the hospitals, those that observe quality assurance, to make sure these kits are standard. These kits are reporting right. Blood samples were sent to South Africa, university hospitals, to blood banks where the stringency of testing is quite strenuous, quite tight. And when the result